Hello, I am here with your April 26th, 2021 tarot using the Santa Muerte Tarot. And no, I don't have a sign for today's reading because I was out all day today doing yard work. It was really nice in my backyard, not so nice in the front yard where you could get that wonderful cold wind off of Lake Superior. Trust me, it was cold. I went out to take some photographs of the moonrise and I was wearing my winter jacket and was still cold. I even have my long johns on, as you can see. Anyway, I've done an off-screen pre-shuffle and now we ask for our messages for April 26th, 2021. And that card actually came out in the reverse. So yes, tonight is the big super full moon in the sign of Scorpio. I know we've spoken quite a bit at length in regards to, oh boy, in regards to what this means. And I do strongly feel that this reading, it's more about what's bubbling up to the surface, and some of that is tied into the moon with the fact that because this is a supermoon, we may be feeling the energy a lot stronger. We may be feeling a lot more of a pull, particularly if you have a lot of water placements, specifically Scorpio, as well as Taurus and Aquarius. I don't know why Aquarius is feeling this so much. I did not look into that, I'll be honest. But apparently Aquarius, you guys might be feeling a huge pull to having a lot of emotions really coming up to the surface. The reason for that is those are things that need to be released and cleansed, and that is exactly what full moons are for. It is to let things out, let them go. Bottom of the deck, we've got the Four of Pentacles. It's either holding on too tight or not tight enough, so that means you either need to get a grip or you need to let go. We'll talk about this more in a moment. But back to this super full moon. Scorpio is also about transformation. So you may have to finish releasing some of this stuff to complete your transformation. Now with Pluto going retrograde, also about transformation. Instead of it being about more of the deep underworld, again, more of that deep feeling, you're gonna potentially be really feeling the need to dig deep or release some emotions that you've been holding in really deep inside. So a couple of quick moon rituals you can do, particularly with the full moon, which don't forget, if you have any crystals, you make moon water, you do any rituals, specific meditations for full moons. If you want to do cleansings, this is a great time. If you have tarot cards or any forms of divination, so scrying mirrors, bowls that you use for water scrying, you might want to put those out on a windowsill so they can catch the energy, the cleansing energy of the full moon. So you might want to do that. Another thing for the releasing and cleansing, write it out. Write a letter to somebody if you need to. Write it to yourself and say, hey, you know what? It's time we do this. We let this go and burn it if you can. Where I'm at, it's supposed to be snowing, so I don't know about going outside and burning anything in the snow because I'm just not a huge fan of being out in the cold. Despite the fact that I live in the north. So with that, if you can't burn it, or say you live in an apartment building where the burning conditions are not very safe, you can put a lot of intention into the releasing, or you can even just simply rip it. So onto the reading, I'm going to kind of flip the script a little bit here with this reading, and we're already 5 minutes in. We haven't even touched the cards yet, so this is going to be another longer video. I hope you guys don't mind my nattering on about stuff like this. So instead of the bottom of the deck energy being the background influence, while this is kind of the background influence, because we've got a lot of the watery energy, we do have 3 cups cards out. This is a lot of feelings because cups is water energy. Water energy talks about your emotions. And that does tie hand in hand with this full moon in Scorpio, because Scorpio is also a water sign. Promise you, I can't make this stuff up, even if I wanted to. That's just not my style. Sorry. Scorpio full moon wants us to release these deep emotions. And so instead of, I lost my train of thought for a second. Instead of using the bottom of the deck cards as being the background influence, I do feel that the cards that came out during the shuffling are more of the background influence. And we do have 2 major arcana. So again, they do kind of take charge of the reading, because major arcana equals major energy. But the cards that came out that were the jumpers, that I feel is more of what's going to be playing out as kind of more the minor energy for the next couple of days with this full moon in Scorpio. So the first card we have is the King of Cups in reverse. Now the King of Cups in the upright, so had he appeared like this, talks about very intuitive, maybe some creativity, but very much in tune with their emotions and expressing emotions. In the reverse, the King of Cups, he doesn't share his emotions. He's not in tune with his intuition or creativity. And it is a masculine energy because it is a king card. So I will use those specific pronouns. That's just the way the cards are, at least in this deck. But the King of Cups in the reverse, not confident in expressing their emotions. Maybe they don't express their emotions at all, or they're not in touch with those deep emotions. Maybe they're stifling their intuition. Men can be very intuitive as well as, and not just men, but that masculine energy can be very intuitive. So it's just being out of touch with intuition and the creativity and a little bit more of the softer energy. A lot of people feel that we've got to be harsh and just be like all the time and angry, and it's my way and I insist on it, instead of taking a step back and maybe using a softer approach. People just feel like it's the way that things should be is to be in your face all the time. And some of that could be a bit of a ruse to display an overt, more of a King of Wands energy, confident energy, when really you're not feeling that. We do have Major Arcana card up next, and that is the Judgment card. This is the card of Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, of course, very special to me. I do feel very much in tune with his energy, and part of that has to do with the fact that I come from a family with a lot of military history, as well as being a former police officer. Archangel Michael is the guardian and the protector, for lack of a better word, of the protectors. He is the guardian angel that watches over law enforcement, and depending on your military unit, can look out over the military as well. Some units believe in that more than others. Some have adopted it, some have not. So that is a very particular and individual thing. But if you do really feel strongly connected to Archangel Michael, that could just be that you are a bit of a protector yourself. And the Judgment card, It's about taking action. It's a call to take action. You may be feeling judged as well, or you may be feeling like you are judging somebody else or others. But Archangel Michael takes action, as well as being a protector. So this is an action card. It is Major Arcana. It is also the second to last of the Major Arcana. So this is a closing out of cycles too. So that card wants us to really close out, take action in closing out these cycles. Whatever this is that we need to release and let go of, this is the ending of a cycle with the energy of the moon and Pluto going retrograde. This is also an ending of a karmic cycle. I know we've been talking about this endings for what seemed like forever. Well, guess what? We're here. We're in the first retrograde that we've had in 6 weeks. So we may be feeling like we're walking backwards through mud for the next week or two, but that will kind of dissipate as the retrograde goes on. We have more cups with the 3 of Cups next. Now this card is a happier card. It talks about celebration, particularly with those closest to you or that you feel closest to. There's a reason to be happy. It's a joyful energy. And even though that would normally be the main body of the reading, this is what is going to be kind of playing out as more of like a minor energy throughout the day today and probably into the next few days, just because of the moon energy. This one's gonna kind of rock us, shake us. So if your emotions are all over the place and you're like really sad and down and having that heavy feeling in your chest, well, you know what? You can blame that on the moon. There is an interesting pairing here though. So we're gonna get into the bottom of the deck cards. And the Judgment card can talk about people involved in the legal system. Now, whether that be civil, family, criminal systems, the Judgment card can potentially mean you're seeing the end. And the reason why I'm bringing that part up is we do have the Justice card. This is the card of Libra. The Justice card talking about balance, Major Arcana again. If you are involved with the justice system, again, this is indicating favorable outcome because it is in the upright. And again, these two together do strongly talk about there is a resolution in something in which has been very trying, whether it's in the court systems or not. It just may be trying you, feeling like you've been put on trial or that you are being judged. The Justice card, like I said, is here to balance things out. Next, we have the 9 of Wands. And the 9 of Wands, often described as the wounded warrior. So regardless of what battles you've been fighting, whether they've been with yourself, they've been with another or others, whether you're just fighting your own demons, the wounded warrior, despite their injuries, gets back up on their feet and fight again. It's like a redemption almost. And with this military type feel, particularly with this next card as well, it feels like there's a redemption here. Like we've been judged, we've faced our judgment, we've been through our trial, and now we're getting back up because they couldn't knock us off our horse with the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is coming in to offer some love. You can be your own Knight of Cups. Now, if this was a romantic reading, I would say, he's your knight in shining armor. This is the energy that you would want in a romantic reading, if it were that. But this knight, he's not necessarily coming towards you. He wants you to follow. But again, it's got kind of a military feel to it. He's looking with hearts in his eyes. I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can. He's got hearts in his eyes. But he wants to take your hand and lead you with love and guide you with love. Now there's a card that we saw yesterday, Two of Swords. Still don't have your blindfold off, still not sure about which way to go, what decision to make, what you're doing. You may be thinking too hard about this. Maybe now's not the time. I just noticed something very interesting with these cards. The sharp sides of the scissors are pointing away from each other. Therefore, it's not going to cut anything. It's not going to be effective if you were to try to use them to cut anything off. Another interesting thing about this card, because it is air energy, it is definitely something that we are caught up in our minds about. And we're thinking that there's only logical ways to get through this. We may have to think outside the box and get a little bit creative with all of this water energy here. And think outside the box, and that's going to be where your solution is to your problem. But we still, like I said, we have the Four of Pentacles here, and this talks about needing to let go. She's got this guy hostage here. She's hanging on to him. He's hanging on to her. And it might actually be better if he just were to let go, because there's that bench right beneath him. He's not necessarily going to fall to the ground. He might land on that bench if he were to let go. And I do strongly feel that with this reading, you've possibly been suppressing some very potentially joyful emotions because you've been in this dark phase of feeling like you've been put on trial and that you're being judged, or that you're constantly being judged. But it's time that things are starting to balance out. Things are starting to shift. We just need to release whatever these heavy feelings that are keeping us tied. I'm not sure what to call this. This person here that's dangling for help, asking for help, if they were to let go, because it's not the skeleton or the skull that is hanging onto the figure. It's the figure hanging onto Bridezilla. I don't know what to call her. He's hanging on to her. And if he were to let go, he would be setting himself free, cutting himself free, and following his heart on this situation. And regardless of what injuries may have been incurred up to this point, time to maybe let some of that go and release yourself, free yourself, follow your heart, stop judging your own self and putting yourself on trial, because we are our worst critics and enemies in every situation. Where you have fear and doubt, a lot of times it's just you getting too much in your head. So cut yourself free from whatever this burden is and what this attachment to the past that keeps hurting you. And it's time to let those hurts go so that you can be more in touch with your emotions. And then maybe you can celebrate a little bit and enjoy things as energy starts to balance out, particularly in the next week or two, once we get through this rocky couple days with the moon being at its fullest. So this is super long. I hope you guys don't mind. If you like the longer videos, let me know. If you prefer the shorter ones, again, let me know. Leave me a comment, send me a message. If you like the longer ones, I have no problem doing them, because I'm a Gemini, which means I am a chatterbox and I like to talk. So I'm going to leave it here before this reaches 20 minutes, and I will talk to you tomorrow.